And now, a word from our sponsors.
Okay, guys, I just want to say, can you please keep the chatter in the comment box relevant to the discussion? I'm seeing way too much spam, and all it's doing is lagging the whole system down. I'm having difficulty following the arguments at certain points, simply because it's too choppy, because there's too many people posting, so please keep it relevant. Also, if you guys are having any technical issues, please put your message in all caps. And one last thing, if I find you spamming or doing anything of the sort, I am merciless, so keep that in the back of your mind.
Yeah, mods. So far we've got Gambler, Rabbit Ape, Aaron, Known TJ, and Smartmouth Pundit. If any of you guys think anyone should be booted, mention it in the text comments, and if you get a decent amount of people saying so, then boot that person. I don't really... I already picked my... Unfortunately, I'm sorry, iAstronomy.
Yeah, because I already had to kick 2 people from the chat just due to general stupidity and fucktardedness, so yeah, just keep that in mind.
Yo, Komatite in the house!
Alright, I'm just going to start my rebuttal speech. I'm apologize in advance if this is not as coherent or as well spoken as my last speech, because will not be scripted. Now, I want to make rebuttal points to just a couple of his points. The first point that Honest Discussioner made is that we cannot know whether or not God exists, because he being something that exists outside of time and space is not detectable by empirical means or really any means. However, I would contend that if one can find a genuine self-contradiction in God, in the concept of God, then one would have proven that God cannot exist, despite the fact that we cannot prove this empirically. Now, in regards to his response to the design argument, for the record, I did not bring up the teleological argument in my opening speech, but I would like to respond to this point anyway. Honest Discussioner made the point that we cannot really know that our universe is designed because we cannot test it against another universe that has not been designed. However, I would say that this is of no consequence, because I would say that we can say that the universe is designed because, for one, there's specified improbability, which is a life-bearing universe, and second, it cannot be explained by chance, because the constants of nature that are fine-tuned for life are very improbable. The conditions after the Big Bang are very improbable, and we know that they cannot be the result of chance, and there's no physical process that makes these things so. This detection of the possibility of chance or some physical process in nature is how we rule out design, and it's the same thing when we when we see things like arrowheads. We know that these are designed because there cannot be any natural processes that create arrowheads. The second point that I want to respond to is this point about religious experience. And while I would agree that religious experience cannot be used as a way to show that God exists, I would say that religious experience would be adequate justification for belief in God for someone who actually had the experience. On an internalist justification, if one has an experience with God, then one has to believe in God. And he said that we should see more consistency in religious experience. I really do not see why we would have more consistency, considering the effects of sin on creation within the Christian worldview. I'm not sure why there would be more consistency in religious experience if God exists. But keep in mind, I'm not actually arguing from religious experience. Now, the point that I really want to tackle is this idea that the Bible's story as a whole is ridiculous. And the examples that Honest Discussioner pointed out seem to revolve around around God being wasteful in his creation. However, as William Lane Craig pointed out in his debate with Christopher Hitchens, efficiency is only a concern for a limited entity. It would not be a concern for something that exists eternally, for something that has unlimited resources and unlimited time. But furthermore, there's one point that I want to make. He was honest discussion talked about God waiting countless generations until to reveal himself to humanity. I would say that this is not a problem at all, and I would go on further and say that God that there was a very good time to reveal himself. The first reason is that, according to the Census Bureau, I think, of all the people who have lived on Earth, there have been roughly 100 billion people who have lived on Earth. And of all of them, 2% lived before the time of Christ. And obviously, if you were going to create a saving plan for the world, then the best plan would be the one that gets the most people saved. And so I would say that God could not have revealed himself at any other time because there would be less population. Moving further, I would say that revealing himself in somewhere around the Roman Empire was a very good place to reveal himself because during this time travel was very cheap. Even commoners traveled, and so it would be easy to evangelize. If God had revealed himself later, then it would not have been up until modern times where people could travel easily. If he revealed himself earlier, and again, people could not easily evangelize. So I would say that God could not have revealed himself at a better time. Now, I just want to ask one question for a rebuttal. I would like to see a defense of why a perfect being would have to create other perfect beings. I don't see why that is necessary. Why it's necessary for a perfect being to create other perfect beings. Now, the next point that I want to make, I want to respond to, was his point about omniscience and free will, that our free will is not compatible with an omniscient God. I would deny this premise. I would deny it vehemently, in fact. This is actually a modal fallacy that you're using. You're saying that necessity follows.
5 minutes.
Thank you, UN. Thank you, Wildcard. You're extracting necessity from contingency, but this is a complete modal fallacy. Moving further, even the ancient Greeks recognized that this is a really, really bad argument, because they realized that you can remove God from the equation, and there's still no free will. We can just say that we have no free will because it is true that we will do something. So God, in this argument that against free will, it is superfluous. We can just take God out of the equation, and we can just say that there is no free will because it's true that we will choose to do X. And then you say that God wants people. You say that the Christianity is ridiculous because God foreknows that people will go to hell, and he chooses for them to go to hell on so-called arbitrary grounds. I would like to see a defense of this idea that God's reasons for sending people to go to hell are arbitrary. Reformed epistemology, not Reformed epistemology, Reformed theology, in the tradition of John Calvin, seems to very strongly rebut this. People simply go to hell because of their sins, not because God wanted them to go to hell. Now, the next point that I want to tackle is your response to the Leibnizian argument from contingency. You say that we're closer, thanks to science, we're closer to giving physical explanations for the universe. However, this is it's a non sequitur, really. We're not talking about